Hola a todos nuestros amigos de Capital Sensorial. El día de hoy tengo la oportunidad de estar aquí platicando con Nick y con Ian de Bring to Bear. Es una banda que se encuentra actualmente en Londres, Inglaterra, así que pues vamos a platicar un poco con ellos. Hello Nick, hello Ian. How
Hi,
are you
how are you?
doing today?
Good.
Good, thank you.
Great. So please, can you tell me a little bit about the band?
Yeah, so Bring to Bear, we're a band on an adventure playing music that we love. And we hope that while we do this, we can inspire other people to do what they love. The music we make is most easily called symphonic folk metal because we take some elements from bands like Nightwish or Epica and also other elements from bands like Korpiklani and Turisas, and we try and bring them together. We try and keep the music quite energetic, the songs quite short, and we try and have a lot of fun while we do it.
Great. So how did the band start?
Bring to Bear started with me and our other guitarist, Christo. We are in another punk band together, a gypsy punk band, and we decided one day that we wanted to create some heavy metal as well. So we worked on some songs that were heavier, and we used those songs to try and get other people to join us. And Nick is one of the people that ended up joining after hearing those songs. We posted ads on Facebook and another website called Bandmix. And it worked out quite well to get people interested in joining us. Since then, we've been working on the songs together, and we ended up recording them together as well.
Okay, so do you play guitar? Is that right?
I play accordion and keyboards, and I do the growling as well.
Okay.
Nick is one of our guitarists.
I play one of the guitars, yes.
Oh, okay. So how many members in the band are there?
We now have 6 people. So we've got 2 guitarists, me on accordion and growling, female lead vocals, a drummer, and a bassist.
Great. So how long have you been playing together?
The band started in May 2020 with the idea of the band. So Christo and I have been working on this since then, but most of the other members joined in December or January of this year. Nick joined in January this year. So effectively, we've been going together for about 7 months or so.
So it's also a newborn band. So well, I think it's a very short time for a band, and you are now making music by your own and recording some interesting projects. So why did you decide to do this symphonic metal?
That is a style that I really enjoy listening to and playing. So when we decided to make a metal band, I play accordion as the main instrument, but we wanted the symphonic element as well, just to create a bit more diversity in the music, to give it some other things that we could add, different textures and feelings.
Okay, so how did you how do you manage to combine every single instrument? For example, the accordion, well, here for Mexicans is not very common to be considered part of a metal band. So how specifically you can manage to do this with your band?
I think it's just about how we manage to balance it. So the accordion has some very interesting things that you can do with it and ways of making it sound serious or happy or gentle or aggressive. It's a very diverse instrument, and a lot of metal actually has a similar amount of diversity. There are parts in songs which are a little bit softer than other parts. So what we try to do is we try to write our music in a way where we leave space for each instrument to be able to do what it can do best. And it's quite difficult sometimes to make sure that each instrument is getting an opportunity without being too much for another instrument. But in terms of accordion and metal, at the moment.
Okay, so how long have you been playing the accordion?
Well, I've been playing for about 8 years.
8 years. Okay, and
but I've played guitar before.
Yeah, yes.
That for a while.
And Nick, what about you? What's your previous experience with music before Bring to Bear?
There hasn't been much formal experience. I've just pretty much been playing guitar for years, for 11 years. Before that, I went to music school as a kid. Music was always all around me. My parents are all musicians, literally, professional musicians. So yeah, music was all around me, but I went in a different direction professionally, and it wasn't until I met the guys at Bring to Bear and heard their amazing demos that really hooked me in, that I started taking music more seriously, and actually joined the band.
Okay, so you mentioned that you took another way in your music career. So what kind of instruments or music do your family prefer?
Oh, it's not. No, I took a different path. I meant completely from music.
Okay.
So I'm doing software development. But my family are all classically trained musicians. My dad is a composer. My mom is a composer. My grandma is a music teacher. My other grandma is also a music teacher. My grandfather is a composer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how is that? You decided to join the band. What was your point of view of this part of the story?
I registered on this website where I got messaged by Ian many years before he messaged me, 5 years before that. And I was looking for a band at the time, but then I didn't really want to put an insane amount of effort into it. So I just kind of focused on other hobbies. But then I had a point in my life where I didn't really have much going on, and the whole lockdown was, happening. So, and then I got this message from Ian, and I heard their tracks, and they were, the mix of the accordion and the guitar to me felt so powerful, especially in the song that we released, our first single, in the Shadow Ruse. I thought it had great potential, and it sounded like something I really wanted to listen to myself. So being part of it was a no-brainer, basically.
Okay. So, did all the members joined after hearing a demo, or you just? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Like publishing the advertisement and looking for the members here is not very common. So it's really cool. So currently, do you play together and record together, or each one is in their own home?
We do rehearse together, and we do get together to do some filming for online festivals and music videos, but from our own homes, where we practiced at home before we went to the studio to record it.
Okay, so what kind of festivals have you played at? Well, the online festivals, of course.
Yeah, we're actually doing our first one in a few weeks' time, which is La Ley del Rock from Argentina.
Oh, okay. So you're going international
Yeah, there aren't many local UK online festivals. They didn't really happen here much. I mean, they happened last summer, but not so much this year.
Let me ask you something interesting. I have noticed that many European musicians find easier to play in these online festivals and share their music here in Latin American festivals or media. So, why do you think this happens this way?
Oh, from what I can tell, it seems like the fans in Latin America just absolutely love metal.
Yes, that's true, but I mean, um, I consider that it's surprising that well, I have the chance to talk to a French singer of electropop music, and the same pattern is repeated that they find much easier to get in touch with Mexican promoters, for example, than in local, in well, European or in your case English promoters. How's the music, the local music um, scene in London in this case?
Quite interesting that the electropop also find it easy getting into Latin America compared to other places. But yeah, in London, the local scene is quite geared towards indie rock or pop music. So for a band like ourselves, there's not that many opportunities that are good opportunities for metal. We can play at a local pub, but it's just a local gig. It doesn't really have much of a lineup or that many big bands that come. The big bands usually play at the bigger venues with proper support that comes from their label. So it's quite difficult to get into those gigs with the big bands when they tour. And at a local level, it's like there's a big gap. So you've got not very well known and there's not much in the middle. So yeah, it's kind of difficult like that, I think.
Actually, this also happens here in our city. Local music, it's focused just in something like pop music, and I don't know if you have listened to some trova music. It's just like the local folk music. So the whole music scene is just focused in these two mainly. But here in Capital Sensorial, we can also, o sea, we have received different proposals from bands. Well, you are from England, but I have also talked to an Italian musician. So I am very surprised because the materials they send us, including yours, it's just amazing. I have listened to the Shadow Ruse. Is that pronunciation right? Ruse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Shadow Ruse. Okay, so what can you tell us, both of you, about the Shadow Ruse? What is your perspective of this material?
Nick, would you like to start?
Sure, maybe I could say something short, relatively. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the song is what hooked me into the band, and it's, to me, it's the perfect display of this great combination of the accordion and the guitar, and how, and also of course like the element of the growls and the soft vocals as well kind of add to that, and it's all this interplay between these elements that I think has amazing synergy together. And I think the Shadow Ruse from the songs that we worked on so far is a really good at demonstrating that synergy. And so I really love the song, basically. Yeah.
Okay, and you, Ian?
For me, the song, I wrote the lyrics. So for me, it's more about the meaning of the lyrics and how the music captures that. And the lyrics are about finding the balance between what you think is good and what you think is bad. And look at it and think it's good, but then someone else will look at it and think it's bad, or the other way around. It's all about your perception and what's going on in your mind. So for me, the music and then the metal and the accordion balance out quite nicely to capture that same theme.
And how was the process of recording and creating this song for you, for both of you, of course?
Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, for the guitars, we recorded all of our set of first songs together, so we did have some pressure in the studio. The song wasn't particularly technically challenging compared to some of our others. But yeah, it was just great fun. I don't know. I think accordion and vocals were probably more involved here in the creation of the song. So yeah.
When we wrote the song, we were still in lockdown, so we weren't able to get together to see each other. So we ended up writing it separately in our homes, where I would write some accordion parts and send it to the band, and then they would add the drums or the guitar to it and send it back. And it was that kind of process of just adding one layer onto another layer until we got to the end of the song. And then we practiced it and knew exactly what we were going to be playing in the studio when we recorded it.
And how did you feel in that process?
It changes depending on the kind of feedback that we give each other, because we're quite critical of each other and what we write. We like to discuss things. So when I write the accordion parts and send it to the band, they'll give me feedback and say, this part really works well, or that part doesn't work well, you should change it, try something that might be more like this, or a different sound or something like that. And it depends on how much you like what you've written as to how you feel. So if I really like what I've written and Christo says to me, no, that's not the right thing for the song, I don't feel so good. But at the end, it all comes together really well. And I realize actually I'm still able to make something that I really like. It's just not going to be this version, it's something else. And then when we get to the end of the song and we listen to how everything is fitting together, it feels really good, because we keep working at it until we know we've got a good mix of all the elements and the song sounds really good.
So do you record and produce the song by yourselves, or do you have a producer who makes this part?
We use our studio engineer who did the recordings for us to do the mixing and mastering. So we just really write the music and play the music.
Okay. So what was the most enjoyable part of recording together after being in lockdown for a while?
I think for me, it was being able to bring everything together at the same time at a high quality of recording, because we didn't have a chance to even practice together before we went to the studio to record. Because we formed during the lockdown, we weren't able to get together until it opened up just before we went to the studio. So that was quite exciting, being able to be together while making the music. Nick, I don't know how you felt about that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, seeing the layers go one on top of another and then build this picture that you've been working on, and it sounds great. That's it's a great feeling, as well as seeing everyone for the first time in person, or rather playing together in person for the first time. We've seen each other before that, yeah.
Oh, okay, because me as a musician find really hard to work each one in its own place and then get together, because for me and my band, the first time we saw each other after almost a year was a complete mess. Each one was just not playing in the right way and out of time. So I'm really amazed because you didn't know each other, and all of you before playing this, and now you're creating this, I would say, the first of many masterpieces.
Thank you.
So what do you think it's next for the band?
We've got some other songs which we recorded as well, and they're busy being mixed and mastered. So we're looking at releasing those in September or early October. That's going to be just 3 songs. So 2 songs that you haven't heard yet, and then the Shadow Rouge will be part of that. So it's going to come out as an EP. Then we've got 2 more songs which are also being mixed and mastered after that. So we'll release those later in the year. And the very next step in the meantime is to try and get some gigs in while we can before everything closes again.
Okay, so first comes the songs and then the EP, or it's just part of...
So the first was the single, The Shadow Rouge, which you've heard. And then we're going to release an EP of 3 songs in the beginning of October. So that's our next release.
Okay. So can you tell us something about that, or it's just a secret?
Some of it's a secret, some of it we haven't decided yet. But what we can say is there will be 3 songs. One of the songs is The Shadow Rouge. Another song is another original. And then there's a 3rd song, which is a cover song. But for now, we're going to keep that one a surprise.
Okay, I think it's the best option for today. So, well, I would also like to know what instruments do you play? Do you use actually? For example, what can you tell us about your accordion, and Nick about your guitar?
My accordion is the Roland FR4X accordion, so it's a digital one, which is actually great for metal because then I can plug it into the speakers and it's loud enough to hear over the drums and the guitars. It's got lots of onboard sounds, so I can use it for all the keyboard parts as well. It just has a lot of versatility. There's lots I can do with it.
Sorry, yeah, I got my guitar right here, so I can just show it to you.
Okay.
So that's the guitar I use for the band. It's an LTD 1987. It's really nice. It's got one DiMarzio. It's a mid-arc distortion pickup. I'm not much of a neck pickup player, so I only use the one. Yeah, it does the job pretty well.
It's beautiful actually.
Yeah, it is.
I like the color.
Yeah.
If you want, I will show you my bass guitar. I have it right here too.
Yeah, let's see it.
This is my Fender.
Nice.
It's a Precision from I think 1975.
Oh wow.
So it's kind of antique. Actually, I wasn't even born when it was created.
Wow. I like the natural wood finish.
Yes, that was actually the reason I decided to buy it. I was going to choose the typical red bass guitar or maybe blue, but I fell in love with this version. So what would you say to all those starting or new bands, musicians, those ones who people could call dreamers? What would be your advice for them?
My advice would be, if you know what you want to do, make a way to make it happen. So don't expect to get a lucky break, but work at it step by step. Plan out how you're going to get to where you want to go, little bits at a time.
And you, Nick?
Yeah, I'd say something similar, I suppose, but like always be doing something, you know, always be creating, always be working at it. That's what I'd say.
Okay, so, well, I think it's all for today. I would like to talk to you another time when we have finally the whole EP, so you can tell us more about this. So thank you for talking to us today. It was nice to talk to you, to know you first of all. So we'll be waiting for Bring to Bear materials on September and October, maybe. So thank you. Please stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you
very much. You too.
Bueno, pues por el momento sería todo. Gracias a todos nuestros amigos de Capital Sensorial y nos vemos en la próxima entrevista.
Capital Sensorial Radio.